What I have for you here is a beta trailer for Final Fantasy XI. Today, we're going to be exploring cut content that exists in this video and more. Stop. This is the Dangraf Wadi, located outside of South Gustaberg. This zone is very familiar to those of us who started in Bastok, because this zone made it to the release of the game. Here, this may look like Boyahda Glacier, but it isn't. And here, this may look like Western Altepa Desert, but it's not. Today, I'll be exploring a number of places in the Unreal Engine through Project Radiance. So without further ado, let's go check it out. Okay, here we are once again in Project Radiance, which is a project dedicated to putting Final Fantasy XI assets into Unreal. And today we're going to be looking at the zones, obviously the ones in the trailer that you just saw a portion of. I will be showing more clips from that trailer throughout this video so you can get an idea of what is there and what made it to the actual game and what didn't. Now, these are texture DATs that are still within the client today. They're hidden, they're inaccessible to players, and that is partly because there is no nav mesh made for them. So you couldn't walk around with them even if you wanted to. But through Unreal, we are able to walk around in these zones. We're going to be flying around in these zones. And just checking out basically some stuff that is presumed to be like pre-alpha or concept or development zones that they ended up using only for like really this one piece of promotional material as far as anybody knows. So let's get started with the first one we saw there, which was what we're calling the Snowy Wasteland. Cool. So, yeah, let's start with a bird's eye view of this so we can get an idea of what exactly we're looking at. Obviously, the weather effect is generated through Unreal. 11 does have a snowy weather effect, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't look like this. But yeah, so you might be thinking this is like Boyahda Glacier at first glance, but it isn't. Like, if you're familiar enough with the zone, you'll know you're looking at something new here. Mind you, because of Unreal's weather effect, this effect is a little bit more drastic in this zone in particular. It's not going to look exactly like you see in that video because there's slightly more snow cover here. But the general gist of it is the same. It is just kind of a big open area. Much more open than, say, the glacier is. The glacier has much more, I guess, pockets of areas to do things in. This is a very sort of generically open zone. More similar to maybe like a Battaglia Downs, except Battaglia has obviously like zone entrances and stuff for the LDM Necropolis. But yeah, we have this structure. I believe this is unique to this place, as well as these plants, which are kind of like kind of looks like a kindergarten sort of like art project maybe. So I mentioned earlier that there's a chance that this zone in particular was really only made for the promotional materials. My guess would be that it was a piece of concept to further sell the idea of this game. That would be my ultimate guess, is, you know, when pitching like what things might look like, you know, to the heads up of the company or whatnot. You know, you just make a kind of generically open place and then kind of weave a tale of what the game might look like from here. Here we have a lake. Can I go into it? No. Of course, we have collision, like I mentioned earlier. This is all generated through Unreal. Normally, you wouldn't have any of that, and you could just fly like directly through what are essentially just textures. Oh, that's interesting. Can I go through that? No, those have a collision mesh as well. I don't know if nav mesh and collision mesh are necessarily the same thing. I'm saying them interchangeably, but obviously, you know what I'm talking about, right? If this were just textures, it would just be artwork that, you know, could be like, you would just go right through. Ooh, this is an interesting area. What is this? Oh, it's the sort of crevice here. I also get a little bit of vibes of the one zone in Seekers of Adeline, but this is clearly way before that. You know, and I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is vastly different from Bucetine Glacier. That has all the windy sort of... Wow. Yeah, that has all the kind of windy pathways and stuff. This is nothing like that. You know, there's speculation that because there is no mesh, potentially that small scene with the Gubu eating the Mandragoras was simply just kind of almost generated more as a cutscene than actually populated with character models or enemy models and then recorded. You know, camera scheduling or whatever. You know, you just create the animation with the Gubu tossing up and you just catch it at the right angle and the right time and it, you know, all of a sudden you've got a shot. But, yeah, that's, there isn't much more to explore in this area. So let's just move on to the next one. That is in that beta video. And that is going to be the Western Altepa looking, place. Okay. Super reminiscent of Western Altepa Desert. I mean, this rock structure in the middle is pretty iconic. Let's get another bird's eye view here. But you'll see the rest of the desert is not. It's not populated. It doesn't have the entrances to quicksand caves. It doesn't have the pillars that you have to open in order to do the Savage Blade quest. Again, likely a proof of concept. I mean, there's a chance that, you know, this was sort of like biomes. If you start to maybe think about these pieces of cut content in that way. Again, and I would think for pitching an overall vision of what the game might be like. But yeah, typically in Western Altepa, you'd be partying on the side of the mountain like this. You'd be pulling beetles and stuff. But it's actually pretty different. In Western Altepa, these sort of like finger outcroppings all kind of extend further down. They kind of extend from there to like there. And you kind of like run kind of further up them, and there's like beetles that spawn there and stuff. The other interesting thing, however, is the sort of back end where it's sort of got like a little amphitheater going on. You know, this is not how it looks in actual Altepa Desert. And of course, I will be putting the various clips in to illustrate where this is in that beta trailer. It's kind of fascinating to me how much is used in that video that didn't make it to the final game. That texture's got a little bit of something going on. But yeah, very cool to be walking around in Unreal checking this stuff out, you know, with a legit skybox and the ability to kind of like collide with things. Yeah, so that is the sort of pre-alpha, quote-unquote, Western Altepa Desert. The next zone we're going to go look at is not actually in that video. However, it's extremely cool. Let's go check out the pre-alpha Boyahda tree. Okay, this one I am a huge fan of. First of all, there's a little bit of extra plant life in here. It's kind of fascinating to look at. But the big thing about it is this tree in the middle. Check this out. You know, when I was showing this to some friends, I got vibes of a couple different games, and so did they. Like, this reminds me of one of the places in Metroid Prime. I couldn't remember exactly what, but it's sort of like spiraling out from the center, and you have these ledges you can jump up on. And look at this plant. Look at this thing. Super cool. But yeah, so this, as far as anyone's guess is this is a Boyahda tree, an early Boyahda tree, and it's easily one of the most fleshed out zones that we have in these DATs. If you look, check this out. You can traverse the whole innards of the tree, and the whole zone is actually something you can walk around in. So okay, so let's see. So let's follow this to the end. And you'll see we have actually a tunnel. I'm going to get a better view of that before we go and explore down those tunnels, because it's a really interesting view you can get. But But yeah, that's not all. Let's follow it to the other direction. Also, I kind of get Final Fantasy X vibes. I remember there was a woods you would walk around on, you know? Because remember, this is, like, 11 is, it's got a lot of older Final Fantasy, you know, sort of design to it. And this zone in particular it's just very small. You know, it's actually kind of cramped as far as, you know, designs go, especially things that made it to the final game. Ah, right here. So, you know, you're at the bottom, and, you know, you can take the different paths. I don't know if this was intended to be like, then you drop down. There's no entrance from the base of the tree, so you'd have to like walk up and around. Let's see what, I see a ledge up here. Okay, yeah, you can't get to there normally. But yeah, let's check out this tunnel. And I want to show you something kind of interesting. Got a whole tunnel system here. Let's see if I can find it. Right here. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come outside and show you. Look at that. Okay, this is the whole tunnel system underneath this Boyahda tree, early Boyahda tree. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. It reminds me, okay, there's two places in the game this reminds me of. King Rampier's Tomb and Eulogrand Range. So, like, in Eulogrand Range, you would have these, like, drop-downs, and then there'd be, like, bats down underneath or whatever. And yeah, but it's a lot more basic. You know, I guess the same would go for King Rampier's Tomb, obviously designed with story purpose. There's one more cool thing I want to show you before we finish up here in the Boyahda tree. The top of the tree. Now, clearly, a player would not be able to do what I'm about to do, but here we go. We'll just weasel our way through these roots and vines, and yup. Now, the big reason I wanted to show you Boyahda tree here is because, essentially, in the beta trailer, the next thing that you see is Fafnir. So, again, to get players excited, also, I believe, to pitch to the heads up in the company, etc. Excitement for this game, they show us Fafnir. And Fafnir is in Dragon's Aery. Dragon's Aery is located above the Boyahda tree. So I don't know if this is supposed to be that connection in some way, shape, or form. But we're going to head to the Dragon's Aery next and see our friend Fafnir. Let's go check it out. Pre-alpha Dragon's Aery. And there's your boy. Yeah. You know, it's through the power of Unreal that we get to do this, that we get to walk around in this zone, that we can spawn a Fafnir in here. But clearly, you know, keep in mind what you're looking at is texture DATs without collision meshes in the game's files. And according to that video, clips above, the idea was this is the home where Fafnir lives. And if you've played in this sort of era of 11, you know that Dragon's Aery is a place where, you know, link shells are tested, you know? But this is the original idea. To me, it looks like an onion. Or one of those things from Ocarina of Time that shoot the Deku nuts at you. But yeah, this clearly would have been the entrance from Boyahda Tree. And this is a lot less subtle than it is than what actually made it to the game. It's like, you're in the area, you're in the Aery, and there's a dragon, you know? And he's right in the middle. Like, you know, there's no nest, there's no, you know, where would it even eat? And obviously the real Dragon's Aery has like waterfalls and stuff like that. But we do have an additional little thing here, and that is this path that leads up and around. I wonder if the original intent was like for mages to be up on these ledges, you know, rangers and stuff, you know, tanks and melees down below. Like, it's really a fascinating concept to see Dragon's Aery sort of in this way. Let's get a better bird's eye view here. But you know, honestly, this does kind of look like a place a dragon would roost. It's kind of cool. Sick. Yeah, so that's it for the cut content from that beta trailer. Let's head back into town and wrap it up. If you're enjoying this series, please remember to subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified when the next videos come out. The video after this one will revisit that like concept art map of the world of Vana'diel and visit some of the zones found on that map. Also remember to drop a like on this video, and I'll see you in the next one, YouTube. Peace out.